Okay, welcome everyone, and a Freilich and Chanukah. As we learn, sponsored by A.B. Spry for the welfare of our brave soldiers, and for the safety of Klal Yisrael, and for the recovery of the hostages, for Issa Zev ben Yuta. I just heard some good news from one of my Mispalalim that his son, who was in Gaza now for since October 7th, is now had given relief and told he could go home. And the report that he got is things are looking well now in the Gaza. The different battalions and the different quadrants where they're doing battle seems to be b'li ayin hara going our way. Let it continue. Shimon Klein, Lila Nishmas, Asher Anshel ben Yehuda, Gittel Bas Shimon Pinchas, Irving Fishbaum for Issa ben Rezel. One of our Chaverim here in the shul, Ruvain Lipsky, is having a stent put in tomorrow morning, so let's have in mind special for him, Ruvain ben Tema. And my Shver is going for targeted stereotactic radiation tomorrow, so that he should have Atzlacha Avigdor Aryeh ben Rivka. Meir ben Chayesar, they should have a refuah shalema b'seich shar chili Yisrael. We especially grateful to everybody. I know this is a very busy time with parties and all kinds of things going on, and thank you for rearranging your schedule around the shir. As we welcome in A.B. Spry, Mel Zachter, Dr. Guy, Shimon Klein, Alyssa Macher, Irving Fishbaum, Dr. Yudel, Yitzri Fuchs, Dr. Block, Yisrael Fisher, Nachman Chapler, Bruce Eisenberg, Stephen Holtzman, Rabbi Kranz, Reuven Pollack, Menachem Chapler, Shelley Zeitlin, Eddie Chazan, Ben Sion Cohn, Mark Frankel, who is in the dark, I don't know where he is, having a Carvel over there, Yoshua Shmuel Eisenberg, Ilya Shutman, Naftali Javelin, Moshe Lehman, Avram Schenkman, Aaron Swade, Dr. Reuven Guy, Shimon Deer, David Helfgott joining us just now on Kololoshin here in the shul. We're Zoichet to have Berish Kesseman, Gedalia Engel, Reb Herbst, Reuven Shanet, Saba, and we are holding on the bottom of Lamed Zayin Amid Beis. If you remembered, we're trying to figure out Reb Shimon ben Manasseh's opinion. He says a shor shel hekdesh that goes a shor shel hedyot is potter, but a shor shel hedyot that goes a shor shel hekdesh bein tam bein muad pays an ezek shalom. So now the Gemara says we do indeed darshan the drasha of shoreyeyu v'lo shor shel hekdesh, and that's why if a shor shel hekdesh damages a shor shel hedyot, it's potter. However, we do learn a kal v'chaimer from shor shel hedyot. If a shor shel hedyot gores a shor shel hedyot, it's chayiv. So a shor shel hedyot that goes a shor shel hekdesh should surely be chayiv. But we said we should say dayoy lavoi min adin liyos kenadan. Just like by a shor shel hedyot, the tam pays a chatzin nezek and the muad pays a nezek shalom. We should say it should be the same thing by a shor shel hekdesh. Why is it that a shor shel hedyot that goes shor shel hekdesh, even a tam pays a nezek shalom? El Amar Reish Lakish, 2 lines from the bottom of Lamed Zayin Amid Beis. El Amar Reish Lakish, Hakol haya b'chlal nezek shalom. Really, you should pay nezek shalom all the time. Kisheparat lach hakosav re'eyu gabei tam, when it re'eyu by tam, re'eyu hu de tam mishalom chatzi nezek. It's the miyat of re'eyu goes the other way. Re'eyu only by your friend is a tam downgraded to a chatzi nezek. Michlal the hektish, but by hektish, bein tam bein muad mishalom nezek shalom. Both the tam and a muad pays a nezek shalom. As the Gemara continues to the top of Lamed Ches, The imkain, because if we would exclude Hegdish with the Re'eyu from paying, the imkain nichtav kralai Re'eyu gabe mu'at. It should have said the Re'eyu by mu'at. To the contrary, the Re'eyu was written by Tam not to make it less, but to make it more. That if you go a shar of Hegdish, you have to pay a Nezik Shalom. Now, Shoshel Yisrael Shenogach Shoshel Kanani Potter. So here again, it's not consistent. It says that a Shoshel Yisrael that goes a shar of a guy is Potter. But a shar of a guy that goes a shar of Yisrael, Bein Tam Beimud, is Chayiv Nezik Shalom. So again, Amrei, the Gemara says, Mamanav Shach. Either way. If it's only your friend and the Kanani Kinogach the Yisrael, then when a guy shar goes a Yisrael, Namili Potter, it should also be Potter. V'reyayu lav dafka afilu the Yisrael, even a Yid's shar Kinogach the Kanani Nechayev. Says the Gemara, the truth of the matter is that it's shar shel reyayu. The truth of the matter is that Re'eyu is dafka, and therefore if his shar goes your shar, if your shar goes his shar, you're potter. Why, if his shar goes your shar, does it have to pay, whether it's a tam, whether a mu'ad, nezik shalom? This is a special rule. Amar Rabbi Avo, Amar Kra, Amad v'modeid aretz. Hashem stood, Kaviyachel, and judged the world. Ra v'yater goyim. He saw and he relaxed or released the Gentiles. What does that mean? Ra sheva mitzvahs shekiblu aleim b'nei Noach. He saw the 7 Noahide laws that the Bnei Noach accepted, Kevin Shaloi Kaimu, since they didn't fulfill it, Amad v'hitter Mamayna liyisrael. Now this Rishonim are quick to say they weren't matir all Goyish money. Gezel Akam is Aser. However, in this instance, they were matir Mamayna liyisrael, that if a Yid's shar gores, if a guy's shar gores a Yid shar, bein tam bein mu'ad has to pay a nezik shalom. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Mehacha. Rabbi Yochanan learns it out from another pasuk. Hoifia mehar paran. This is talking about how Hashem shown Har Paran is one of the names of our Sinai. Mi paran hoifia mamaynam li Yisrael. From Paran, he revealed. In this case, it means he gave over their money to Yisrael. Tanya Nami Hachi, we learned likewise. You know, I have a recollection, and this is a recollection to the mid-'80s. In the mid-'80s, for 2 years, I gave every night Daf Yomi on the radio, 1 in the morning, on WNYM radio. Does anybody remember WNYM radio? Gedalia, do you remember? 13:30 a.m.? Really? You don't remember?
Live at 1 a.m.?
Huh? Live at 1 a.m. I used to go every night to the studio, and my wife, Mimlibi Aleha Shalom, accompanied me to the studio. And because what happened is I bought the radio time. In those days, in 1986, I bought 1 a.m. in the morning from Sunday through Thursday and Motzei Shabbos. So that's 6 days a week. I got the airtime from 1 to 2 in the morning. And I want you to know that it was 50,000 watts. It was a very powerful station. Very powerful station. I bought it for $200 a week. $200 a week. But at that time, well, let me give you a reference. At that time, my rent was $450 a month. And my payment to the radio station was $800 a month. So that was more than my rent. And, you know, I was a Rav. The payment I got from my kehillah was my medical policy and my rent. That's all I got. My wife was a full-time mother. So how did I pay $800 a month? So my wife came, and I used to say on the ear, if you would like to sponsor, call in. And my wife took the calls, and she wrote down the donations, and that's how I paid for the. Then we got some sponsors, we got some hotels, we got some sponsors. I had somebody who used to send me in. I still, to this day, I don't know who it is, but he would send me in every other month $500 in American Express traveler's checks. I have no idea who it is, no idea, and that helped a lot in the payment of radio. I was on the radio for 2 years. I had a lot of people listening to me, people that worked in the night, people that rigged up recorders on clock radios. It was a lot of people listened. Till this day, I meet people that say, I remember this year on WNYM radio. And my wife, she was something. She came with me. Imagine coming 1 in the morning. 1 in the morning.
What did that radio station play during the day? What was it famous for?
Well, it was. It had Catholic programming, and it was also famous for Jewish programming. That's where.
Not WWD.
No, not WWD. That's where Dov Shurin started. That's where Country Yossi started. Ashy Wolfish. Victor Vancier from the JDL had a show. What?
When did they move to WMC?
No, that's later. Zev Brenner was on 13:30 a.m. Yeah, that's Dov Shurin got me started because I gave a Daf Yomi in Staten Island. That was a very popular Daf Yomi. So there was somebody there, he now lives in Eretz Yisrael, Fivey Berman, and Fivey Berman made the connection between me and Dov Shurin, and Dov Shurin says, you'll see, you'll go on the radio, you're going to have a lot of people listening to you. And then later on, I also bought, and this I had wonderful mispal, Paul Trenk. Paul Trenk is the one that dedicated the Paroichas over here on the beautiful Paroichas here, for his parents, and he bought me the airtime Matzah Shabbos from 10:30 to 11, where I said a Chumash. I was told that Rav Palm would listen to my Chumash every week together with his Rebbitzin, and that's what I was told. But anyway, says the Gemara, Tanya Nami Hachi. So the reason why I reminisced about this is because I remember learning this daf on the radio and wondering how I should explain it, because Goyim are going to be listening to this, you know? So I translated it as pagans, so it takes away a little bit of the bite, you know, and not just Goyim. But
They understand what that is for the Goyim.
well, okay, but they're not pagans. If they're pagans...
I got my neighbor over there, the Cuban. He goes to the library, he looks into the Talmud.
Okay. Tanya Nami Hachi. We learned likewise. Shoshel Yisrael Shenogach Shoshel Kanani Potter, a shor of a yid that gores a shor of a guy is Potter. Shoshel Kanani, a shor of a guy, Shenogach Shoshel Yisrael, Bein Tam Bein Muad, whether it's a Tam or a Muad, Misham Nezik Shom. Shenemar, why is it so imbalanced? Shenema Amad V'Moideit Aretz, Hashem got up and judged the earth. Ra, he saw that the Goyim were not fulfilling the 7 Noahide laws. V'yater Goyim, V'aymer, and furthermore it says, Hoifia Me'ar Paran, he revealed their money to us from Har Paran. My V'aymer, why do we need a second pasuk? V'chitei Mahai Amad V'Moideit Aretz. Mi'bayalei L'Kidrab Masno, Kidrab Yosef. I might say that the pasuk of Amad v'Moideit Aretz is needed for another drasha, either the drasha of Rav Masno or Rav Yosef, which we will discuss momentarily. Tashma hoifia mehar paran, Hashem revealed from our parim afiyah mamanim Yisrael. Hashem revealed their money to Yisrael. Now you said we need it for the drasha of Rav Masna and Rav Yosef, so right away the Gemara quickly asked, Maida Rav Masna, what's the drasha of Rav Masna? The Amar Rav Masna Amad v'Moeded Aretz Ra v'Yater Goyim Mara. What did Hashem see? Ra Sheva Mitzvahs Shenistavu Aleim B'nei Noach. He saw the 7 Noahide laws that B'nei Noach were commanded, V'loi Kaimam, and they didn't uphold them. Amad v'Higlo Isamei Al Admosam. He got up and he exiled them from our land. That's why they were sent out of Eretz Yisrael. Now, where does V'Yater? V'Yater, we understand, means released, relaxed. Where does V'Yater mean to send away? Says the Gemara, "My mashma v'hay v'Yater lishna dagluyehu," to cause them to be exiled. Ksiv hacha, because it says over here v'Yater goyim, v'ksiv hasam, and it says by grasshoppers. It has one of the simonim of the grasshoppers. It has hoppers lenaser bahen al haaretz, that cause them to jump from the land. Or metargum, which as it is interpreted in the targum, the kaftza bahen al haaretz, that they jump from the land. So therefore, over here, v'yater means to cause them to be jump away from the land. Now that's the drasha of Rav Masna. We also said there's a drasha of Rav Yosef. Ma'adir Rav Yosef. What's the drasha of Rav Yosef? The Amar Rav Yosef, Amad v'Yomi Aretz Ra v'Yater Goyim. Mara, what did Hashem see? Ra Sheva Mitzvah Shekiblu Aleim B'nei Noach V'loi Kaim. Amad v'Tiran Lahem. He got up and he said they don't have to keep the 7 Noahide laws. They're exempt. So the Gemara says because they sinned, iskure isker, they benefit, that they get away with not doing these restrictions. Im kein matzino chayte nisker. If so, a sinner profits. Says the Gemara, no, what it means is that if they do it, they won't get reward. Amar ma'abrei Rav l'loy meshafilu mekaymin oisan, even if they uphold it, ein mekabel aleim schar. They don't get reward. Says the Gemara, what do you mean? The lie? They don't get reward. How do we know that even a guy that learns Torah shu kikayin gadol, that he's like a high priest? Now, Adam is a terminology for a guy, right? Minu Adama. Kahanim Levim Yisraelim loinemar. It doesn't say Kahanim Levim Yisraelim. Ela Adam. Holamanita shafilu nachri va'isik b'Torah. A nachri that does Torah ariel kikayin gadol. Now, it doesn't mean the entire body of Torah. It means the Torah for the mitzvahs that they're commanded to do. So you see that learning about what they're commanded to do, they get schar. They're considered even like a kohen gadol. And if that's the case, then they surely are going to get schar for doing the mitzvahs themselves. They learn about it in order to know how to do the mitzvahs. Imrei, so the Gemara says, they get schar. But their schar is less because they're going to be viewed like an eina mitzvah v'aisa. Imrei, ein mekabel aleim schar k'mitzvah v'aisa. They don't get reward like if they were commanded to do it. Ela k'misha eina mitzvah v'aisa. Now you'll say, well, just the opposite. If they're not commanded and they do it anyway, so that's extra credit. That's even more. Said Gemara, no. The Amar Rab Chanina, Gadol HaMitzvah v'Aisa, greater is somebody who's commanded to do something and does it. Yaisa Memisha Eina Mitzvah v'Aisa. Now, why should that be? So Taisa says in Masechtas Kedushin, because when you're commanded to do something, you have a Yetzer Hara that tries to stop you. When you're not commanded to do it, there's no Yetzer Hara. So therefore, if you do it as an Eina Mitzvah v'Aisa, it's less reward because you're not combating the Yetzer Hara. But if you're a Mitzvah v'Aisa, you have a Yetzer Hara, and if you do it even so, then you get more reward. So they were, after Amad v'Yater Goyim, he made it that they should get reward, but a reward like an Eina Mitzvah v'Aisa, which is less reward. I think I told you that the Bahag says that the mitzvah of simcha is one of the Taig mitzvahs. Later tonight, after the shir tonight, we're going to have a chok. And in the chok tonight, we're going to learn from the Musar that Lilius, the queen of the she-demon, her power is atzvus. It's a terrible thing, atzvus. So the Bahag says that the mitzvah of simcha is one of the Taig mitzvahs. And it's based on the pasuk of Samachta b'chol ha'tov asher nasan l'cha Hashem alikecha l'beisecha. So everybody asks, why do you need a mitzvah of simcha? It's a universal quest. Everybody wants to be happy. What do you need a mitzvah for it? And the Farshim say, because the fact that there's a mitzvah, that's why it's so hard to be happy. Because once it's a mitzvah, that means the Yetzer Hara stops us from being happy. If it wouldn't be a mitzvah, the Yetzer Hara wouldn't get involved in it. But now that it's a mitzvah, the Yetzer Hara stops us from doing the mitzvah. Says the Gemara, as we are holding by the two dots, just getting underway on this beautiful Sunday night of Chanukah, Yom Revi, Keneged the Dalet Imois, 13 lines from the bottom of Daf Lamed Ches Amud Aleph. Berish, can I trouble you for some water? One should make it a point to find time to look at the neighbors. It's a very big Indian to look at the neighbors. There's a famous word from the Bnei Yissaschar. The Bnei Yissaschar says that he has it from 3 Eidim Nemonim that in the Or of the Menorah is revealed Or Aganas. Who are the 3 Eidim Nemonim? The Rekeach, the Maral, and Rab Pinchas Mikoritz. He says those are the 3 Eidim, thank you very much. Those are the 3 Eidim Nemonim. So it's a good idea to look at the neighbors. So anyway, says the Gemara, Vayta Ton Rabbanan, V'kvar Shilcha Malchus Raimi, the Roman Empire sent Shnei Sardiotus, 2 high appointed individuals, Eitzel Chachmei Yisrael. They were also very, very, very intelligent people. Lamdunu Toraschem, teach us your Torah. V'karu v'shanu v'shilshu, they learned it once, twice, 3 times. Others say that they learned Torah, Mishnah, and Talmud. B'shas b'tiras, and as they were leaving, Amru lahem, they said to them, Diktaknu b'kol Toraskem. We studied your entire Torah, v'emesu, and it's all truth. Chutz medavar zeh she'atem oimrim shoshel Yisrael shenago shoshel Knani potter, that a shor of Yisrael that goes a shor of Knani is potter, but Mishal Knani shenagach shoshel Yisrael bein tam bein muad mishalom nezach shalom, because they said it doesn't fit. Mimanav shach. If Re'eu was dafka, then afilu de Knani kinagach Yisraeli potter. Even if a guy's animal grows a shor, it should be potter. V'Re'eu lav dafka, then afilu de Yisrael kinagach de Knani should be chayiv. However, because we are so overwhelmed by the emes of the Torah, we won't reveal this to the Roman government. Obviously, they didn't want to explain to them that it was the reason of Amad V'Yater Goyim. That wouldn't have gone over very well with the Roman Empire. The Yerushalmi adds over here that when they went on the boat to return to Rome, Hashem caused them to forget everything. Perhaps when they got back to Rome, they were executed because of that. They were pretty ruthless about these things in Rome. Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda, Shchiva Lebrata. This is a very serious story. Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda buried a daughter. Lo Aleinu, he lost a daughter. Amru le Rabbana Ula, the rabbi said to Ula, Kum nezel ninachme. Let us go together and give him comfort. Amalahu, so Ula said to them, My isli gabe nechemta de Bavloi. What do I have to do with the nechama of the Babylonians? The gidufa hudamre, because their comfort borders on blasphemy. Because they would say, My Avshalav, what could you have done? Now, what could you have done sounds like if you could have done something, you would have done it, even if it would have frustrated the will of Hashem. Ha Avshalav of day. No, it's like saying, in Germany, we went like sheep to the slaughter. We didn't handle it the right way. I mean, they didn't handle it the right way. The Rebbeinu Shalom wanted it. Right? So that saying, well, there was nothing you could have done, implying that if there was something to do, you would have done it, even if it wasn't the Rebbeinu Shalom's wish. So therefore, indeed, the Ramah Paskins in Shulchan Aruch, you don't say that. You don't say, what could you have done? Instead, he went to comfort himself. He didn't take them with him because his comfort is a very, very it's comfort with quotation marks. A lot of people wouldn't be comforted with what Ula said. And he said, Vayomer Hashem, and Hashem said, Al totzer es moyav, do not aggravate moyav, val tisker bam milchama, and don't incite war against them. Now, the chima olal daite shel Moshe lasses milchama shaloi berishos. Why did Hashem have to tell him not to do it? Would Moshe Rabbeinu think of waging war without Hashem's permission? Ela nasa Moshe kal v'chomer ba'atzmai. He made a kal v'chomer. Ma midyanim shaloi ba'al lazar es moyav. Madach midyanim that didn't come only to help Moav. Midian was only assisted Moav. Amra Torah tzrares ha-midyanim. Attacked the midyanim. V'kisam ha'isam, and smite them. So Moav, that was the primary enemy. Moavim atzma loy kol shechem. So Amalei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem said, Loi kisha olsal daitcha, not that which you have in your mind, olsal dati, is on my mind, because you can't see the future. I know that shtei preidos toivos yesh li lo yitzi mehem, there's going to be two very special birds that I'm going to get from Moav and Ammon, Rus HaMoaviyah and Namo HaMoinus, and therefore you can't wage war. Now, because of two chashuv birds, Hashem had compassion on two great nations. This is what he told when he went to be Menachem Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda. This is what he told him: if she was worthy, and something worthwhile was going to come out from her, alachas kama v'kama, then for sure. So therefore, you shouldn't think she died before she accomplished what she was supposed to accomplish. Obviously, she finished what she was supposed to accomplish, because if she was supposed to have someone worthy, she wouldn't have died. Hashem didn't destroy the whole Moav and Ammon because of two birds. So if she was supposed to have worthy progeny, she wouldn't have died. If she was supposed to do something worthwhile yet, she wouldn't have died. So obviously she finished her life's work. Now, the Yamshel Shloimeh says that we don't do this. That's a pretty understandable thing, that a person is not going to feel comforted when he hears that his child was not worthy enough to have worthy children. It's not a comfort for someone. So we don't give this comfort. The Amshel Shloimeh says we don't hold like Ula's comfort. We say, Amokim Yenachem Eschem. The only person who knows how to give Nechama is the Rabbeinu Shalom. We don't know. It's beyond our ken to do this. Says the Gemara, once we bring up this story, Hashem doesn't withhold reward from any creature. Even more refined speech gets rewarded. The ilu bechira, the older one, the ka'amra moyav. Now moyav is grub, because it says that it was from my father. That's not refined. Even though they thought that the world was going to be destroyed and they were saving the world, they didn't know anybody else was alive. That's what's brought down, and they did it l'shem shemayim. But even so, she said, Moyav, from my father. She shouldn't have put it in the words. Amalai Kadosh Baruch Hu Moshe, Hashem said to Moshe, Al totzer es Moyav, v'al tisker ba milchama. Don't distress Moyav, don't incite against them war. You could only not do war, but levy taxes against them you could do. Milchama udalai. Ha'angaria to levy taxes, avad l'u. Seira, the younger daughter that had more refined speech, the Kamar, it called it Amoin. Amoin is Ben Ami, from my nation, but she didn't say from my father. Amalei HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'maisya v'karafta mul b'nei Amon. You're going to come near b'nei Amon. Al titzurim, don't aggravate them. V'al tisker bam, and don't incite them. Klal. Not forget war. That's the reward for refined speech. Now the Gemara says, it's always good to be the one to initiate a mitzvah. Now we learned this out, that Shem received more reward than Yefes, because Shem was the one who started the idea to cover his father. Then Yefes was a follower, but Shem was the one that started. So here too, you should be energetic to start the mitzvah. Because of the one night that the older daughter did it before the younger daughter, she got into Klal Yisrael 4 generations earlier. Because we know Rus HaMoyaviyah was already, what was Rus's son? Ovid, Yishai, David, and Shloimeh. And Amoin only came from Nama Hamoinis' son, Rechavam, the son of Shlomo. Nama was a wife to Shlomo. V'ilu Tzeira ad Rechavam. That was a generation later. D'chsev v'shem Imai, and the name of Rechavam's mother, the wife of Shlomo, was Nama Hamoinis. By the way, I just want to point out an interesting thing. We know that when Rus married Boaz, she conceived and would give birth to Oved. Now we know from the Medrash that the night that she conceived was the last night of Boaz's life. Boaz died the night that he married Rus. So you would think that Rus would call her child Boaz. Why did she call her child Oved? So I always wanted to say she didn't want to give the name Boaz because a terrible thing happened. He died on the night of their wedding. Something terrible happened. Also, it says that Rus buried in his lifetime Boaz buried in his lifetime 30 sons. So she didn't want to give that name, but she gave Ovid, which has all the letters of Boaz except for the Dalet, and the Gemara tells us Dalet and Zayin is interchangeable. Right? So Ovid is the same letters as Boaz except for the Dalet, and Dalet Zayin is interchangeable. Tan Rabbana. And again, I want to say that it's to have 30 Zoomers here this evening. You know, it's been very quiet here tonight because Marshall isn't here. It's the second night that Marshall isn't here. And Mark Frankel is hiding behind a screen over here. There he is. Are you in a warehouse?
Yeah, I'm working, Rabbi, yeah.
Wow. Wow, he doesn't hold a Visa Malach on Hanukkah, that's for sure. I'm glad you're able to join us even from work.
Well, I try not to miss.
Well, that's good. That's good. It's like Bruce Eisenberg says, he never wants to miss. Right, Bruce? You never want to miss. Avram Schenkman, I just want to tell you it's good to have you, but we need you for Mariv. These days, Mariv is a little squeaky during Chanukah. Baruch Hashem, tonight we had a lot of people. I sent out an email, and Reb Herbst, led the charge.
My sister's here as a guest.
What?
My sister Alyssa is here as a guest.
Oh, this is your sister. How are you? Nice to meet you. You have a lovely brother. Lovely brother. Dr. Yadel, you're getting my tapes for decades. It can't be too far away from the 80s that you started listening to me. Yeah. Okay. So now you know the secret that he's older than 30. Anyway, Tan Rabbana. Shor shel Yisrael shenogach shor shel Kusi. Oh, now we're going to wade into the Kusi story. So let's give a preface over here. What's the story with the Kusim? The Kusim, we know Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria, did not like people to have home team advantage. In sports, it's a very big thing to have home team advantage. So when he conquered a city, he moved out the people and he relocated them so that they shouldn't have a home team advantage if they tried to regroup and retaliate. So in the Shomron, when he conquered the Shomron, he moved out the 10 tribes, and he relocated the Shomron with people from Kusa, and that's why they were called Kusim. They were attacked by lions, and they converted. And there's a machloikis whether their conversion was sincere, whether they were Geirei Emes and they were really Jews, or if they were only Geirei Aroyis, converts because of the fear of lions, and therefore their Geiris was not sincere, and they're really Goyim. And there's a machloikis throughout Shas whether Kusim are Geirei Emes, are true Jews, or they're only Geirei Aroyis, they're insincere. So the Gemara tells us, Tan Rabbana, Shor shel Yisrael shenagach shor shel Kusi pater. A shor of Yisrael gores a shor of a Kusi pater. V'shel Kusi shenagach shor shel Yisrael tam mishalem chatzi nezek or muad mishalem nezek shalom. A tam has to pay a chatzi nezek and a muad has to pay a nezek shalom. Now, this is strange. If they're goyim, then we should say that shor shenagach shel Yisrael that gores them, they shouldn't have to pay anything. But here it says that excuse me, if the other way around, if they're goyim, then if a kusi goes a shor shel Yisrael, even the tam should pay a nezek shalom. But here it says the tam pays a chatzi nezek and the muad pays a nezek shalom. So obviously you're saying that the kusi has a din of a Yisrael. If that's the case, then why, if a shor shel Yisrael goes a shor shel Kusi, if he has a din like Yisrael, why is it potter? So we're going to see that the rationale is that we penalize the Kusi, that if we gore his shor, he doesn't get paid, in order that Klal Yisrael should not marry them, because they weren't very careful with our laws, and therefore we didn't want people to marry into them and go off the derech. However, we didn't penalize them so much to say that if their shar gores a shar of Yisrael, even a tam has to pay an ezek shalom. That's the opinion of the Tanakam. Rameir Mishar Shel Yisrael Shenagach Shar Shel Kusi Pater. Vishel Kusi Shenagach Shar Shel Yisrael, the shar of a Kusi that gores a shar of Yisrael, Bein Tam Beimu and Mishal Nezek Shalom. So that sounds like Reb Meir holds that the Kusim are Goyim. The Kusim are Geri Arayah saying. So the Gemara right away says, is that so? Lememra, do you mean to imply the Savar Reb Meir Kusim Geri Arayah saying that the Kusim were only insincere converts? They only converted because of the pachad of the lions, and they're really Goyim? V'remini, we'll see that Reb Meir doesn't hold that way. V'remini, Kolak Samim. Now, a kesim is a woman's garment that has a red stain on it. Now, a woman's garment with a red stain on it is tamei, because it's assumed to have the tumah of a nida. But it's only if it's a garment of a yid, a garment of a guy. The Goyish woman, their garments don't have a tumah of a nida. So a kolak samim haboim merekem, all stained garments that come from Rekem Tahirim, because the Tanakama holds that Rekem is a city of Goyim, and therefore their garments are tar. Rabbi Yehuda Metame, Rabbi Yehuda says no, their garments are tamei, mipnei shehim gerim, because they are, the people in Rekem are converts, but they are converts, once they convert, they're Jews, but they're converts who did not get proper Jewish education, v'toyim mibein anochrim, and they became they are uninformed. But since they're Jews, it's tumas nida and it's tamei. Mibein anochrim, if it's a garment that comes from a Goyish city, Tahirim, Mebein Yisrael or Mebein Hakusim, if it comes from Jews or it comes from Kusim, Rameya Metamim, Rameya holds its tamei. So obviously if Rameya holds its tamei, then he can't hold Kusim Geri Arayah. He can't hold that Kusim are insincere converts, because then they would be Goyim and it would be tar. So obviously Rameya holds Kusim Geri Emesain. The Chachamim Metarim, the Chachamim say that the garments that come from Kusim are tar. Why? Because they're careful with nidus. And therefore, if you find a garment with a stain, it must come from a guy. Shalai nechshedu al kismeim. So Alma, here we see, since it says that Rameir holds that the stained garments of Kusim are tamei, Alma kasavar Rameir Kusim geri emesein. So Rabbi Avo has a simple explanation. He says, no, they also hold that a Kusi is a Jew. We said that the Tanakama says we penalize them somewhat in order that people shouldn't marry into them and go off the derech. Rameir consents them even more and says that if a shar shel Yisrael gores a shar of a Kusi, even a tam pays a nezek shalom, in order that we shouldn't marry into with them and learn from them. Rabbi Yavo, Knasu Shekonas Rameir b'mamaynam. Rameir made a knas with their money, shelo yitama b'hem, in order that we shouldn't mix with them. Says the Gemara, Rameir makes a knas on the kusim. Most of Rabbi Zera, ve'ilu nara sheyesh lem knas. The following maidens, you have to pay a penalty for rape or for seduction. Habo ala mamzeres, if somebody sleeps with a mamzeres. Vala Nasina, or a ger from the Givainim, Va'ala Kusi. And this is a Stam Mishnah, which is like Rameir. But if we cancel the Kusi, then we should say that we should deprive her of the Knas to give a Knas to the Kusim. Yisal Kedai to Kanas Rameir. V'mamaynam, Hachinami Niknais, we should penalize and say that they don't get payment for when they are raped or seduced, Kidei shelo yitamu ben, that we shouldn't marry into them. Amar Abayas, so Abayas says, no, over there, we cannot waive the knas, kedei shelo yeh chaytei nisker, in order that the rapist should not profit. You're right. We would like to penalize the kusis, but we don't want to make it in a way that the rapist benefits. We don't want a sinner to benefit. So the Gemara says, yeah, but we could still penalize the rapist and still penalize the kusis. We should stay, instead of giving it to the victim, who in this case is the kusis, we should give it to the poor. B'nei Yisrael aniyim, we should say that it should be given to the poor. Amar Rav Mari, so Rav Mari says you can't say to give it to the poor, mishum davei mammon she'ein lo toivin, because to give it to the poor, then the rapist will never have to pay, because there's no ani that could claim it. One ani is going to claim it. He says, no, I'm going to give it to a different one. I'm going to give it to someone else. And no ani will be able to take it from him, and therefore he'll end up not giving it. And we don't want him to be a chaytei nisker, so here we're forced to say to give it to the kusis. But when we could give a knas to a kusi that doesn't cause a sinner to profit, we do, in order that we shouldn't marry into them. Okay, Rabbi say we're going to, I did the Mishnah Yomis already, it's already on TorahAnytime.com, it's already on YouTube and a bunch of other places, in order that I should be able to do the chak